Now let's talk about modules and packages. Now if you look at the left side of the screen, you will see a lot of files there. And it's good that we have written so many files, and in the normal project we do that. Okay, so you will say, hey, we don't have to do everything in different files. We can do that in one files. Yes, you can. So let's say if you are building a e-commerce application, maybe your own Amazon, and now you thought, okay, let me put all the features. Now, when I say features, what it means, so let's say you're working with the product. You are adding the products, you are deleting the products, you're updating the products, whatever you do with the products, whatever you do with the users, because you have to also get users on board. So adding user, deleting user, user is buying something, so you have to maintain those records as well. And for that, you'll write some functions. And you got all these functions in one file. Is it possible? Of course, you can just pick up any file from here. I'll pick up this demo.py. Okay, we don't have a lot of code here, but imagine all the functions of e-commerce are in this file. It may be 12,000 lines of code, and it's beautiful, right? You will just keep scrolling and you will see all the codes. You will be happy, but not your server. Okay, and also not your users, because maybe it will work. Maybe everything is working fine. And in future, if you want to make some changes, maybe fixing some bug, you will start searching for the function which you have to update. And then you will say, hey, Naveen, we got this amazing feature on the keyboard called Control F or Command F, using which you can search a particular function. Yes, you can. But do you want to really make that messy thing in one place and then keep searching for it, keep managing it? So that's not a good idea, right? And that's why we create different files. So different features in different files. Let's say if you're working with the product, you will have a product.py file where you will have all the features of the product. Maybe you will have users. So you'll be having a user.py file where you have all the users in functions. You got the point, right? So different feature needs different files. Now these files where you're not going to run them individually, why you will run the product.py file individually? It's just functions to work with the products. Now this kind of files where you just have functions but you don't execute them are called modules. But then you will say why you will create a file with the functions which you will not execute. I'll show you something. So what I will do is I will create a new file. So we'll talk about modules, don't worry. But before that, I want to talk about packages. See, everything is in one place and it looks beautiful in some sense, you can flex it, but then logically, all these files should be grouped in one particular folder. Not all, but let's say if I'm talking about factorial here, this should be part of one particular folder. Okay, and then maybe I can put recursion, factorial, in fact, recursion in the same folder. Maybe I can put higher order function in one particular folder, right? It is easier to manage then, right? So, and we have not created folder yet. So let's create one. So how do you create a package? So that folder is called packages. Okay, so if it is a Python file, it's a package. But we create a folder to create a package. So let's click here and I will name this as a calculator package where you will have everything related to calculator. So that's my package. Now in this package, I'm going to create a file. So this is a file and I will name this file as calc.py. Now this looks like a normal file, but I will call this as a module. Why? Let me show you. So let me get a function here, which is add. And in this, I'm going to just return a string by saying addition. I'm not going to write the actual logic because that's not the main reason for this video. This video is about having some functions. It doesn't matter is it add or any complex logic. What's important is we are creating a function inside a file and I'm not calling it. This is just a function so that someone else can use it. And when you build something like this where someone else is going to use this is your module, okay? So this file, which is calc.py, is your module. But then where we are going to use it? In this particular package, I'm going to create a new file called demo.py, and this is where I'm going to use it. Mind you, both the files, the calc.py and demo.py, are in the same package. Okay, and with that in mind, let me write the code now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a result variable in which I'm going to save the data coming from add function. Okay, and then at the end, I'm going to print that result. And now you will say, where is the add function? It's not in this file. And that's what your ID is also saying. Hey, you know what you're doing? Add is not defined anywhere. And then you will be saying, I'm a developer. I know I have created that file or that function inside calc.py. why you're not able to find it. And they'll say, you're so dumb, Python. Why you're not able to find this file add or this function add in calc.py? If you think Python is dumb, think in this way. So let's say Python is smart. Python says, okay, you just write the function name. I will search all the files and I will find add. If Python is able to do that, and it's not a complex thing to search a function in a file, the problem is, what if you got more add functions in some other file? Maybe you're adding a user and that function name is also add. Maybe you are adding a product. Even that function name is add. Which add you're referring to? Is it calc? Is it product? Is it user? Okay, and then you will mess up everything. And that's why Python says, let me not search about it. You do it. Okay, you specify which module you're talking about. So how do you mention the module? So then you can say, before add, you can say, hey, I'm talking about calc. Now it will say, okay, I should be able to find add, but I'm not able to find calc itself. So calc is a module which you have here, which is calc.py, right? This is a file. And you don't mention .py, you just mention the name of the module, which is calc, without extension. And then it should be able to find. But it says, no, I'm not able to find it. Then what you do is you mention import calc. Now why it is not able to find it without this statement? Because calc can be an object as well. Calc can be a variable as well. So you have to be very specific that, hey, that's a module. And now you can see it says module calc. So you have to import calc and then you can do it. Now let's try. So I will just say Python and demo.py, and if I say enter, okay, now there is a problem. The problem is demo.py is here and demo.py is here, and when I ran it, demo.py, it is running, I think, this particular code, which is enter a character. Okay, no problem. I will just close this. So let's clear this confusion. The problem is, if you look at your path, you are in the root directory of the folder. So this is the first project. You can see this is the root directory. This demo.py is inside a calculator package. And for PowerShell or for your terminal, it's into a folder called calculator. So first step is go to that folder. So you have to go to calculator. And now if you say ls, it will list the files. So you can see we got demo.py, we got calc.py. Now you can run this and you can see it says addition. Okay, so now you're able to find add, which is in the calc. Now calc here is a module in which you have this function called add, and you can call it in some other file provided you say import calc and then you say calc.add. Okay, but then let's say calc has more functions here. So let's say def, we have also got sub here, which is for subtraction, and then you are returning here subtraction. Now in this case, what will happen is you are able to call add, but let's say if you call sub, will this work? Yes, it will, because it belongs to calc. And now if you run this, it will say subtraction. But here's a problem, not the actual problem, but as a developer, we are greedy. Why I have to mention calc everywhere? I'm lazy. So in that scenario, what you can do is, instead of using import calc, what you can do is you can say from calc import sub. Now what will happen is you don't have to mention calc. You can simply say sub because you are importing a function as it is. So now you can call sub. There's no problem. You don't have to mention calc there. Run and it works. But will it work for add? And the answer is no. You can say you are getting an error. You know why? It's because we are saying from calc import sub. Nowhere we are saying add, and add is feeling bad about it. So what you will do is you will say you give a comma and say add, and it works. You can see there's no problem here. Let's clear this out and run. Now it says addition. So whichever function you want to import, just mention those functions here. But if you say, hey, I want to import all the functions, then you have to use a wildcard, which is your star, by saying get all. Okay, and then it should work. But I want to add a twist here. The twist is, let me go to the demo of which we created before and which is outside this package calculator. Let's write the same code here. So delete this code, copy this demo code here. Okay, whatever file you have, not just demo. If you have some other file, copy there. And close this demo, or maybe you can just keep it open. You can see it says two. It says two problems in the file. The problem is it's not able to find calc. Now that's weird. This demo, which was in the package, was able to find calc. And logically, it should be able to find that because it's on the same package. The demo, which is here, it's outside the package. It has no idea where to find calc. Then you can say hey, that calc belonged to a calculator package. And that's why you have to use the package name dot the module name. Now, no problem. Let's run this and it works. I'm running the wrong file. Okay, example, if I come back here in the demo and say result in the double quotes and give a comma here. And now if you run this, it will still say addition, is because we are still running this file. We have to run this file. How will you run this file? Just go back to the root directory. So say cd dot dot, depending upon which OS you are working with. And now run that file and it says result addition. Simple, right? So yeah, that's about this code where we talked about module and packages. We are going to use modules a lot in the upcoming sessions, so you will get used to it. See you in the next part.